Hi, it's Steve and Joe from Freshagenda. And Steve, we're back with another weekly take. And this week, um, we've got new and exciting things to talk about, which is not GDT
Yeah,
338, because that doesn't seem very new or exciting at the moment.
no.
And of course, chat of the week.
Okay. So new and exciting. Well, what's new? Is it exciting? Is there anything really shifting the very uh, bearish dynamic at the moment? Probably not a lot. So here's a brief summary of all those things that might be moving around and changing shape. I have to say the bullish side, we're scratching a bit there,
Yeah.
particularly on the demand side. Um, so Look, threats to New Zealand milk, $7 milk price won't excite many Kiwi farmers to produce
No, it
more
will
milk.
not. Yeah.
And that after this GDT event is probably going to be a pretty good price if that can be delivered. Um, yeah, the US is certainly slowing down milk production, and that is starting to take effect. Particularly, we saw some tightening of the cheese market, short-term cheese market. Will that remain a fixture? We'll talk about that in a minute. But on the bearish side, look, we are talking about GDT, and here I'm sorry to break your break your theory there, but short-term GDT offers are there for a while yet.
Yeah.
Lifting those, and that's going to sustain some pressure. EU's still producing milk growth, and the weather outlook we checked during the week, it's still pretty good. You know, a lot of rain.
Bit of rain around.
Yeah,
So.
and that might push some more grass out of the ground. That keeps it going, and feed prices have weakened. Um, the demand side is the worst bit of this news. You know, China's macro settings, that's everywhere, but it just looks like that's going to be a much more difficult recovery period.
Not much of a bounce there, is there?
No, we're not seeing any tightening of Chinese milk, and still threats to Southeast Asian demand there, with El Nino probably pushing up food prices for rice and palm oil. So all round, we are really happy bears.
Not.
So the run up here.
Yeah, so not surprising that event double 3-0 went the way it did, given what was expected on the futures market. They'd all moved out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So whole milk, the worst in that lead up. I think certainly what the pulse delivered. And you can see we gave a bit of a preview there of where 338 went, but that's a big step down. This is the main issue that's brought this on, I guess, made this worse. Last week, another 20,000 tonnes brought into whole milk offers, mostly front loaded. And there's probably a fair chance there's more coming.
Yeah. If
that Chinese situation doesn't change, there's going to be a lot more whole milk powder around in warehouses in New Zealand. So maybe that's here's the clearinghouse in GDT, and that's what it's for. But 50% lift in the volumes since June. That's an increase in what was the opening season.
Yes.
Last. Skim milk powder's got about a 20% increase in that
that's
period.
at 5,000 tonnes, but obviously on a much smaller overall volume. It's significant, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So the event, yeah.
The expected impact of all at that extra volume and fairly lackluster demand, Steve.
Yeah. So heavy losses. Skim milk powder again with very weak demand seemed to get off lightly. If we can call that light. Cheddar went against the grain with a bit, obviously a firmer US market may have changed that, but
sure.
And a lot of quotes of just how far back we go to see whole milk powder prices this low. It's like 7 years or so.
Yeah.
So we are plumbing some depths that we probably didn't think we'd get to so quickly after the highs we had last year. But when China steps out, this sort of knock-on effect around the category, around dairy categories, is what's dragging everything down. So whole milk was, we were below 2,500. The C2 price, a long time since we've been there. Skim milk powder also down quite low. We have again seen the discount to European product widen, so New Zealand cheaper. That's probably going to remain a theme. Look, the bright spot, we've gone to cheese quickly here, but the cheese prices went up. The US market's obviously gone up, corrected in the short term, and it lifted the futures market there as well. So will that hold? Look, there's a fair chance with skim and butterfat being so unattractive in Oceania that we may see a lot more cheddar coming out looking for a home. So whether that holds or not will be quite interesting in the next few events. Demand was really poor. Yeah, so there's some of the that demand ratio material hasn't always been published, but these go back to the worst since it has been. So that's about half the events we've in the history of GDT.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. Yeah, we've plumbed the worst for skim and whole milk powder. Fats have been worse than this, but not much. You can see they're just ugly charts, these.
Yes.
Started bad and they're extended, and that's probably why skim milk powder lingered, kept the price up, it went longer.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a silver lining there, I guess. I've not gone around the grounds with this, you'll be pleased to know. But just some interesting things. Skim milk powder was quite disappointing with the demand from both China and Southeast Asia. So below where they've been before. So that is a worry. The Middle East stepping in, bargain hunters there again. You can always say when the demand is weak and prices are falling, these guys will come in, guys and gals will come in and lift the buying. So go back several years before you see them take a higher volume of whole milk powder, and that skim chart looks just bizarre.
Yes, very much so.
Again, the synthetic value comparison for whole milk powder.
You can see what a bargain it is there, Steve.
Yeah, it's harder, but you can see we've been there before, like a lot worse than this.
Yeah.
So maybe we're just starting to go there for a while again, particularly if you think about the European product, which is still holding up some of those options. And the AMF discount got bigger. Yeah, all around awful. New Zealand's milk price expectations were lowered. Fonterra announced it was going down to a mid-range estimate of $7.
Yes.
When you plug these numbers into the spot result, it was down to $6.30-ish. But extend the full season. Now, on the projection for the full season, assuming existing events and prices that have dropped into forward months and the futures before the event, we haven't seen them afterwards, the data isn't out, took the value down to $7 if you assume 61 cents for the full season. I think that's optimistic where we are now. Futures market thinks so too. Bids there below $6.80. So $7 will be a good number.
It will, yeah.
All right. So, chart of the week.
Chart of the week, and I guess this week's newsletter was full of US news, and it wasn't just about a former president being indicted for, I don't know, the 91st time or something. The US food sales data came out, and it was interesting just to see the numbers for food price inflation. Food service versus grocery. So inflation did tick up a bit in the US. The US has been one of the better ones for, maintaining full employment. Inflation seemed to be turning downwards, much lower than we're seeing in Europe or even here. It had a little uptick in June, but still looking okay. The issue for food service spending, though, of course, is always what's happening with gasoline prices, which are trending up there on that chart. And, for us, what does that mean for US cheese markets? Because, as you said earlier, they've tightened up a little bit. And demand growth has been pretty good, but with a little more product around possibly, how long does that hold?
Yeah, you can see the other cheese category there is still below water.
That's right. So that's more the mozzarella, the cheese we tend to associate with food service. And
the gasoline cost pressure may start to bear there. There's some heavy trading down going on in grocery there.
Yes.
Those that's implying volumes are well down, but that's not just volumes. That's got to be a trade down to cheaper products. So Yeah, not a long way from being out of the woods here.
That's right.
Okay.
On that
Well,
happy note,
yeah.
go Matildas.
For those who aren't following the World Cup, what the hell are you doing? So, big semi-final tonight. To all our friends in the UK, here we go again. Australia versus England. That's something. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back soon.